So I think that Kano is a very pathetic situation and a very dangerous situation. And unfortunately, because of the nature of the environment, and I think that government initially really understood which were the most vulnerable places in the country. They look at the most urbanized places like Kano, Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, and of course Abuja as the most vulnerable. And I think they also look at the challenge of these are also our major airport centers. I think they also understood those ones. But I think that we made a number of mistakes, I think, in the response. I don't think those were deliberate mistakes. I think they were, in some ways, rational mistakes. In the sense that I think we tried to follow the infection, I think, from the first index case. So because the first index case was in Lagos, so we tried to concentrate in Lagos and try to put the infrastructure and put the resources there to ensure that we contain the situation, which I think is a rational thing to do. But by the way, I always say that I think in some ways we are lucky that this problem started in Lagos. I can imagine that if it had started in another place, another part of the country, I think that the disaster would have been even worse. Because despite all our problems and despite all the problems of Lagos, I think still Lagos has a better infrastructure and better governance structure to deal with these problems than if it had happened in another part of the country. So government, and partly because of the Ebola experience that they had, so they had something on the ground that helped them and guided them. So I think that so I think government put a lot of infrastructure there, and then as the virus tried to move off into the hinterland, and then we tried to also build the infrastructure gradually. So it was next was Ogun, eventually it was Oyo, and then eventually. So you can see, and then of course Abuja. So you can see that the infrastructure and to deal with this problem also gradually moved with the infection. But unfortunately, we never realized that actually by the time that we identified the first index in Kano, there was already a problem in Kano. So but we always look at the first index case. But unfortunately, there were so many people who were dying at that time that we never knew that it was because of COVID. So all of our references were always in the first index case, and I think as now it's been discovered in many parts of the world, the first index case that we report is just the report that actually has been officially reported, but that in many places actually people have died much earlier. It was only when later on that people went back to see the record. And in some places, they were able to do autopsy to find out that actually those people who died earlier were also as a result of COVID. Although the first index case might have been discovered a month or two, even in some cases, after the situation. Even now, I think that as you have followed in the situation of China, there is a claim that probably the problem started as early as August, based on imagery of hospital attendants and the record of searches of computers and other things. There is some suggestion that probably this problem started as early as August, whereas, as we all know, the first case that was reported was in January. So there was like a 5-month gap in that one. So in Kano, I think that was the same situation that we have found ourselves, whereby people died, and unfortunately, the first set of people who died are supposed to be prominent people. And so the first set of people who died are supposed to be prominent people. So prominent people are the people there where also people attend their funerals. And now I think we know that probably a lot of the people who attended those deaths of prominent people also got infected in those places. I think there's what is called Superspreading event.